John Barnes reminisces on the time he dressed up as Tina Turner at a wild party during his footballing career. Appearing as the first guest on Kate Garraway's Life Stories, set to air on Thursday, the football legend, 58, recalls how he would often go out partying before a big game and it was fine to be sick on the side of the pitch if you had a hangover. At one particularly raucous bash, John told the host, 54, how he transformed into pop icon Tina, donning fishnet tights, a cowboy hat and a little fur coat. He recalls, there was the stockings just below the skirt with the garter belt, and the wig, the makeup. During the night I had some close scares because after people got drunk they really didn't know it was John Barnes. If you're in the toilet with a lot of drunk men and you were fairly attractive because I was a little bit slimmer then. John had training the next day and says, I didn't have to turn up as Tina Turner because I could take my tights off and I would go in the skirt and the boots. It was fine, though, because Kenny Dalglish was with us and he was the manager. You could get away with anything if you were a good footballer. John went on to say he would be celebrating most nights during the late 80s and early 90s. The retired Liverpool player tells Kate, in the late 80s into the early 90s we were celebrating most nights. It got messy from an alcoholic point of view for a lot of the big drinkers. But of course you couldn't make excuses to not come into training and play properly. If you want to be sick on the side of the pitch because you've drunk too much, that's fine. Our Christmas parties were fancy dress. It would go on until maybe 8 or 9 in the morning, then you just go in fancy dress straight to training. You'd come in your Mickey Mouse costume, or whatever it was. John debuted for England in 1983 and in 1987 joined Liverpool for £2 million and played till 1997. During the interview, John spoke about how he still has irrational guilt about the Hillsborough disaster which took place during the 1989 semi-final with Nottingham Forest. 97 fans died and 766 were injured during the fatal human crush and woe standing only central pens. John says, at the time it was strange. There were always games where fans seemed squashed, because you have barriers. So when I saw them just before we came off and in fact, they have this iconic picture of 2 Liverpool fans, girls we'd known, and they're squashed and I thought that looks uncomfortable. We went into the players' lounge and you can see the pitch, that's when I realized how terrible it was. We saw bodies, people on stretchers. You see little kids and think about your children. Then of course, the irrational guilt, you know, feeling that they've come to watch me play, they're not going home. Kate Garraway's Life Stories starts on Thursday on ITV at 9 p.m.